Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headache stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic.
Okay, how's everybody doing? So what I want to do in this episode, which is a little bit different than the normal mainstream kind of content that I produce, but still covers the same genre, really. Model building versus model making, vice versa, and then all that stuff in between. And of course, now things have changed with 3D printing, and then there are generalizations that cover scratch building, super detailing, kit bashing, model building. And I just want to touch on a few of the terms just to clarify some things. Like, I know it's a generational situation now as well. Like, for example, like we've never been in a better time for model kits, obviously. Like in terms of their quality of injection molding, the options of resin, photo etch, and 3D printing. But there are terms thrown around there that are not correct. Like when I hear model builders, well-respected ones use the term us model makers. Well, in a general sense, yeah, but that's not correct. Like, you're not making a model when you build this. As good as this kit is, this, like I'll just say, hashtag no sponsor Bandai, like they make probably one of the best, like injection molded engineering in the whole industry. Yes, there's greats like Tamiya, etc., 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 but their fit and attention to detail, and like this is just like not much really glue used here to put this together, and it's as good as any high-end model kit. Like, look at the detail underneath the the stompers here, I call them, right? Like, that was unnecessary, but they did it anyway, right? Look at these, how they articulate, the toes. I mean, it goes on and on like this. But when you build this, you're assembling a kit that's already been engineered, designed, manufactured. So you're model building, when you build this, right? Like, here's another one too, like a small one. I like to pump a few of these out now and again as a break between scratch building and model making. This is an out-of-a-box kit, except for, you can see there's the super detail. See the hatch? I took the old one off and I wanted to model it open, so I used a piece of evergreen sheet. So that's just a form or the beginning of super detailing or kit bashing, but I wouldn't consider it a kit bash. I'll show you a kit bash in a bit here, but just to briefly close on model building is where you take a kit that's already been designed and manufactured and you basically assemble it. And that's not to disrespect the model building culture, because the younger generation especially are just unbelievable. Like, their skills and building and super detailing and painting is off the charts. Better than, like, overall average than my generation. They're definitely better and more skilled, right? In the model building part of it, okay? Like, here's just a straight from the box kit, again by Bandai, where it's just built up and painted. This isn't painted in that newer sort of heavy modulation style. This is probably more movie style, where lights, are used to bring out a lot of the details. But there is pin washes there and dry brushing, etc. There, and you can see some weathering and highlighting there. But it's just straight from the box build and paint, right? Lots of fun, right? Same as this one, but a smaller scale. Here's another Bandai. And I build these not just because I love sci-fi. I like science fiction, but I think the kits are superb, and they're an absolute joy to build and paint. And they're a nice break, when you want to change up things. And then just to close on this, straight from the box build and paint, here's a Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, which is just a beautiful little model kit. Like, if you look at these up close, like, the detail is second to none, right? So that's model building, right? And there's a lot that surrounds model building in terms of the subcategories, which I'm going to touch on a few, okay?
There's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need.
Okay, so now that I've touched on basic model kit building, I just want to mention this. So this is a model kit as well, but as with this one, it's a multimedia kit, meaning like you can't, like you have to use the multimedia parts to finish the model. Like you can't build the model without being into multimedia, meaning there's resin, photo etched metal, and some plastic. And I also super detailed this. So this is an actual mixed media or multimedia 187 scale tow truck here. That was also super detailed, which I'll touch on in a minute or two here. Okay. But it came with most of the details, but this whole record's been super detailed with evergreen plastic, etc. So this is like I wouldn't say it's a kit bash, but it's a multimedia kit that's been super detailed as well, okay? Which you can do with these former ones. You can do this to those if you want, right? So that becomes this just basic out of the box build starts to become kit bashing, super detailing, or scratching in other details, okay? Now, here's an example of a kit bash. So these are stacks from a model I've been working on over a few years. It's a 1/200 scale hood. So here's the original funnel. And the problem is with this kit is they're both the same size, but the kit manufacturer got it wrong. They manufactured this funnel like too narrow. I don't know how they did that or why they did that, but it happens, right? Nobody's perfect. And when you're manufacturing and engineering kits at any level, it's a huge undertaking and with so many people involved. But you can see where I kit bashed this. I sliced it in half. This is one way of doing it. And I filled it in with evergreen strip to widen it. And then I super detailed with some detail hardware on there. And then of course there's photo etch. And then I also modified the vents. Right, so this is a kit bash super detail model kit, right? Okay. Now, here's another example of a super detailed component off of this same ship. This how's the hood. You can see where I've super detailed and sort of scratched in, and I wouldn't really call it a kit bash other than, well, I added this whole compartment sort of, this is an isolation, called an isolation shack, and then I put, detailed blinders on there, added some photo etch, scratch built railings, added photo etch screens here, scratch built oars, straps, and then I kit bashed or super detailed this whole end of this part of this platform, right? So this is a super detailed kit bashed kit part, okay? So you have, out of the box basic build, you got multimedia kits, and then you got, the painting, which I'm probably not going to talk about, and then here's a super detailed kit bash, right? Okay. Now I just want to talk about scratch building in terms of model making, like when you actually make the model, right? I mean, you can make a model better, but model making, the correct term, is where you take a set of plans and you scratch build the whole model like out of sheet plastic or whatever other material, but there's no parts, like there's no kit. So you're model building here and you're model making here, okay? So this is an ongoing project that I'll be uploading a series very shortly. And this is an actual scratch build, like I'd say close to 100%. I might add a few photo etch screen parts later, which would disqualify it, I guess, if you were splitting hairs or getting into semantics. But it's basically model making or scratch building, okay? And I might add that these are all encompassed together within the hobby. A lot of people that start doing this end up doing this. The people that don't do this are usually intimidated too easily, like they're intolerant to any kind of challenge maybe, or negative outcomes, which is in every facet of this. You're going to run into problems no matter what you do. That's part of the hobby, solving the problems and then getting the reward, right? So we have scratch building versus model building. They're all part of the same community and culture, but they're just different subcategories or genres within the overall hobby. Okay, so that was the reason why I wanted to share this, that all of this is relative to each other in terms of experience and reward and the enjoyment that you achieve out of it, right? And it all works together in harmony if you want it to. Okay? So scratch building versus model building, model making, those are terms that have correct definitions. But it doesn't separate, it shouldn't separate or create elitism or cause division amongst the model builder or model makers community, because it's all relative to each other, okay? So I just wanted to share that with you, and just to quickly close with this full build is coming up, and it should be kind of interesting because I share a lot of things that apply to this and these as well when you learn to do this or when you do this or switch back and forth or whatever, okay? So cheers, happy modeling, and I hope that you have a great day.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headache stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could.